Hi guys, so today I'm going to be commenting a series of games, Tau versus Imperial Guard. The first two games are going to be me against a player, Dubina One Love, who's a top Imperial Guard player. The third game will be Master Yoba versus Drizzle. So immediately out of the gate I'm going for a barracks and a generator, and then we're going 2 stealth suits and 1 builder with jetpacks. We want the second builder quick. Usually you'd make it first because I'm going to be going Fire Warriors and Tau Commander. We're going to use the Fire Warriors to capture the point, and then we're going to move them into position in anticipation of the guard player being aggressive, so we can defend. On Fata Morga, it's quite common that the guard player is going to be aggressive out of the bat. They're going to get a command squad with the priest or the psyker and run it at your base and try and do as much damage as possible. Your goal as a Tau player is, in most cases, just going to be to try and defend that and get to tier 2, because at tier 2 you're going to be much stronger. So just building listening points, taking our points, nothing too exciting going on. Got a Tau commander on the way. Dubina has gone for infantry command, 2 guardsmen, a commissar. He's hanging back with his command squad, upgrading the priest. He's going to move forward with these squads and try and be aggressive with them. Now, having played a couple of games on this map against Imperial Guard, I'm reasonably confident that he's going to be aggressive, and so the way I'm going to deal with that is by covering off all my entrances. I'm going to stick the Fire Warrior squad here in case he tries to come this way, and we're going to start. The Tau commander is going that way. Ordinarily I would have moved it over here because that way we can jetpack one way or the other based on what he's doing. But he's going full aggression over this side. So we're just going to micro the Tau commander, micro the Fire Warriors, and get that up to an LP2 straight away. I need to be very careful with this stealth suit because if he tries to strip soul that, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. Instead, he strip souls my Tau commander and tries to do as much damage to it as possible. And he does a lot of damage. It's Tau commander's taken a little bit of damage. It's nearly dead. Thankfully, because it's sun, the high ground, it's got a longer range. I can just sit and shoot from a safe distance while I take my points and build a second squad of Fire Warriors. Dubin has shown up with a tech priest, and it looks as if for a moment that he's going to try and turret rush me.
Stealth team ready for next assignment. Point us at our targets.
Lost a single Fire Warrior, which is not great, but it's not the end of the world. We had to give up taking the relic because he starts it without all alone, and it's better to delay my relic capture than to lose the stealth suit altogether. So just taking care of the Tau commander, making sure we don't lose it. But now we're able to push the guard player back 2 squads. Dubina does try and put a heavy bolter turret, but seemingly can't get the positioning right because it's just in range of my listening post and just keeps taking damage. And by the time he finally gets it right, I've already moved down from here down to all the way down to here. I'm able to defend. Having watched this before, he does end up cancelling it, but at the time I wasn't sure if he was going to be doing that, and so my response immediately was to build a squad of Vespids. With destabilization, they've got high building damage. If he did in fact try to hold and camp down this location, I would need the Vespids to bust out. So we've got 2 LP2s, we've got our 2 points, building a plasma generator. Are we going to lose the stealth suit in the middle? That's the question. No, we're able to fly away in time. As the Tau player against Imperial Guard, it's really important that you keep your stealth suits alive in the early game because they're quite expensive to remake, and they are really important in tier 2 because right as I say that, I walk one into a heavy bolter turret and lose it. But it's really important to keep your stealth suits alive because you're always going to need to upgrade them in tier 2 to deal with chimeras, because one of the ways you can lose the game quite quickly is just to have a chimera full of guardsmen just drop all the guardsmen on top of your army. the way you need to deal with that is just to EMP the Chimera before it comes in. So we've got our third generator, and we're going to go tier 2. We're still going to keep this one squad of fire warriors over here on the left-hand side, just in case he tries to run in with something, because that would delay our point even further. You know, right now we're not trying to do any serious damage. We're just trying to see what we can get done. Because Dubina's lost the window to deal serious damage. He's got a window right at the start when I'm just making units, and then afterwards he sort of needs to defend until he gets his tier 2 and tier 3. Sorry, definitely only tier 3, not tier 2. So as I go tier 2, Dubina's also going tier 2, and what you'll most often see from Imperial Guard is you'll see them start to turtle up. You'll see them upgrade all of their LP2s. You'll see them start to place turrets. Sometimes go for heavy weapons teams of basilisks, and just try and hold off until tier 3, because that's when they're going to beat you with their Caskins, Ogrins, and Fanaticism. So your goal with the tower play is to try and be aggressive here and try and bust through a mixture of barracudas and stealth suits, essentially. So we made the best bids, so we might as well use them. I've tried to be aggressive against this listening point, not quite successfully. In fact, I ended up just losing most of my best bids. Exceptional play. So we've gone tier 2. First thing we're going to get is we're going to get the optics, an important upgrade. We need that straight away, and we're going to go for the vehicle beacon. You can see I've already reinforced my one remaining stealth suit squad, and we're going to start upgrading it with the leader and upgrading it with fusion blasters. At this point, we're just about getting the staple tier 2 units. Going to get third squad of fire warriors, eventually elements of pathfinders. We'll start getting devilfish. My goal right now is to get a sizable enough army to start being aggressive, and that army needs the devilfish to carry it to wherever it's going, because as I mentioned earlier, the risk is that if you don't have that devilfish, if the Imperial Guard player just drops all of their units on top of you with Chimera, if they run in, it's a really quick and easy way to just lose the game outright. Tau's all about army control and army positioning. It doesn't matter how, it's less important how quick you are with moving your units forward, and it's more important how you move them forward. If you move them forward in a spaced out and staggered approach, making sure that there's devilfish available to pull them back if necessary. So right now you can see we've moved forward with the stealth suits, and we've kept the stealth suit in front of our army so that we can stun the incoming Chimera. We stun the Chimera, we unload, and we've got a good distance. Chimera explodes. The guardsmen are getting absolutely obliterated. We try to use the disruption, but we're about out of range. And now we're just going to slowly move forward. We can be a bit more laissez-faire with our more mobile units, with the Vespers and the stealth suits. But with the fire warriors, we know it really is slow and steady. Not in danger of getting charged upon. Dubina goes for a decap, or rather, for some reason he's trying to capture the middle crypt. I'm not quite sure why. But we're just going to continue pushing in the background. We've got some pathfinders, very important unit, and I'm actually making another stealth suit because I'm having some success with busting through. I want to keep that up. I suspect I'm going to need them to deal with basilisks. And in fact, he's just revealed to me that he's got a basilisk. As I only see one basilisk, I don't see any heavy weapons teams, and I'm not expecting, I don't think there's any turrets around there. We can just fly in with the stealth suits and take that out. Very expensive unit for the guard player to be losing. At this point, he just doesn't seem to have that much. He lost so much with the Chimera exploding right here that he's in a bit of a disadvantage. We've got loads of fire arrows just barreling down, and he's got very little at this point. It's really not looking good for him. But as I say, it's more important that you play it out slowly and surely, and don't just lose all your fire warriors. Right here, I can see that he's fully garrisoned the field command, and if I stay here, I'm just gonna lose fire warriors aimlessly. So we're gonna go and attack somewhere else, and we can be comfortable knowing that we've probably got a lead in economy because we've decapped a point, we took out that point as well. So the longer we have a higher rec rate than he does, the more units we can make and the more advantage we can get. So again, not rushing here, we're taking our time. We need to be quite careful because he's starting to entrench himself with heavy teams. This was probably a mistake. He just stuns the incoming Barracuda. We try and jump the Vespids in to defend, and we are able to take that out. But the Barracuda's on very low HP, and it looks like it might die to the nesting post. At this point, I think I am being a little bit loose with my units. Probably should have been a bit more careful and taking my time a bit more because we've lost quite a lot of stealth suits. It looks like we might lose the Vespids as well. In the background, just making more generators, making a global on wreck, making another stealth suit. He's got another basilisk. We'll probably want another Barracuda in due course as well. But still, he doesn't have the infantry or the army to repel my attack at this stage, so we'll just keep taking his points, keep securing our economic lead, and we can start to attack while he has to focus on investing in units to defend. Remember that his overall objective as the guard player is to safely get to tier 3. He can't compete with Tau in a one-on-one fight in tier 2 or tier 2.5. This is where Tau has the advantage, and my Tau wants to try and press that advantage. So it's currently 119 to 60. We've got a reasonably good economy for Fatamorga. And behind that, he's on 74 to 39. So much better economy for me. Another Barracuda, which we're probably going to want to use to hunt the Basilisk, although we need to be careful. Again, the same as twice. We just run the Barracuda and it gets stunned, and it looks like it's just going to die to their bloody heavy weapons team. I mean, if he's focusing there, we can try our best to try and push forward, take that out. Yeah, so not the best use of Barracudas there, 2 wasted Barracudas, but again, he's still reeling from where he lost the Chimera earlier over here. So, I mean, I'm not feeling like it's going to be worthwhile to keep pushing forward. I've got the global on wreck, we've got a solid economy. I'm feeling fairly comfortable that it's better than his. So at this point, I'm feeling like I might as well just attack and go tier 3. So I'm going to go for Kion. I personally think Kion is, I mean, it's definitely the default choice. You want to get Kion in most circumstances. Although having said that, in the third game that we're going to watch, you'll see Master Yoba doing the exact opposite of that and going for Montka.
Point us at our targets.
Just reinforcing our fire warriors, trying to amass as much army as we can. As is the way with Tau, make lots of fire warriors and win the game. Tabine is focusing on retaking his points. He's got 2 heavy weapons team and 2 basilisks, which is good amount of units to defend, but he's still not going tier 3. He doesn't have the energy for it.
Warming up the engine, my lord.
Not a lot of action going on. So when we hit tier 3, our priorities are going to be to get the range upgrade first and foremost, and then obviously to get the armor upgrade. We're not going to be particularly worried about much else after that. Depending on how much money we have, we might go for the ethereal. But really at that point we're just going to try and focus on winning the game with our upgraded infantry units. If it was apparent that the game was to go on any longer, I wouldn't try and invest in the Kroot units. The goal would be to go straight to tier 4 and get the Greater Narlock, because we'll need that essentially to tank. The one thing that Tau doesn't have is any units that are particularly good at tanking damage. All the units are pretty fragile, and you tend to rely on just destroying everything as they try and come in and running away and repositioning. The only exception to that is, of course, the Greater Narlock, which is very, very tanky.
6 minutes until taken.
So we've got both
victory.
of our Kion upgrades. We've replaced our Devilfish. We've got more squads of Stealthus, and we've reinforced our Fire Warriors. So we're feeling confident, feeling like we can be aggressive, and we've got a really strong economy to fully reinforce our Fire Warriors and get more Devilfish. And hopefully we don't waste the Devilfish this time.
Just tell us where you need us.
So he's quite pushed forward with his Basilisks, and he doesn't have much in the way of turrets. Usually you see turrets around here. So we're able just to fly in and take them out. I think it's quite clear he just simply doesn't have enough. My army's much larger than his. Once again, the Barracuda is stunned and is just eating damage from the heavy weapons team and the listening post. But I suppose as long as he's focusing that, he's not killing the Fire Warriors and the Stealth Suits. So not looking particularly good for the Beaner. We're going to bring in another squad of Stealth Suits, I suppose, for extra building damage, and possibly to deal with any future Basilisks, although at this point my goal is probably just to spend my money. Spend it on whatever you can. If it's up there and you're not using it, it doesn't really serve a purpose. So now we've got the upgraded range on the Fire Warriors. A great strategy on Phantom Warfare, if you do get to this stage, is to sit on the bottom of the cliff. And from the bottom of the cliff you can hit pretty much everything. And obviously they've got to take quite a long path to run it, if that's what they want to do.
4 minutes until taken.
We've got the Ethereal, which gives us our global bonus to health and damage. We've got more Barracudas, who are also upgraded from our Kion upgrades. Sadly, Davina doesn't have much, so it's definitely the end for him here.
Fire all guns.
We'll just speed this up to the end. Nothing much happens.
3 minutes until taken. Hold victory.
So we'll move on to the second game, which is again me versus Davina on Fata Morga. I've actually chosen this game for Omneity, who had difficulty dealing with guardsmen who make grenades in tier 1. And so that's what we're going to see in this game. So I'm in the same position, going to go for the same build order, going to go for Fire Warriors and Tau Commando in anticipation of Davina being aggressive.
The lone hunters are here.
The only slight difference in this game is getting the builder before the first stealth suit. It doesn't really make much of a difference. Ordinarily, you'd get both you'd get the builder first, because you want your barrack units out as fast as possible to defend against whatever they're going to throw at you. 2 stealth suits. We're going to take these 2 points. We want to take this point quite quickly, and we want to get it. We want to upgrade it to an LP2 as fast as possible, because this is generally where you're going to be defending. it is possible that Imperial Guard players will try and attack up here. There's no reason not to. Just in my experience, most of them tend to come here because there's 2 points quite close together that they can hammer, and it's also unlikely that you've taken them at the point they attack. If they were to go for these points, you'll almost certainly have this one, and you might not have this one yet. It's just less for them to attack. But what we see here at this point, Dabino reveals to me that he's actually gone for a tactical command first, which is very unusual. At least it's not something that I've ever seen. I don't know if it requires a particularly special reaction. I certainly don't.
I am ready.
Just do exactly what I was planning on doing, which is defending against whatever he might throw at me, and taking my points.
I will lead us to victory.
So having seen that, I'm not quite sure what to expect. So rather than just taking the crit, I'm going to move forward with my stealth suit and see if I can scout. Because I haven't seen any aggression whatsoever, there's no reason for me not to move out with my Tau Commander. Tau Commander is quite fast, quite mobile with his jetpacks. What we don't want to do is move the Fire Warriors out of position because they are slow and bulky and fragile. And if you get caught out of position with them, it can be really dangerous. You know, if I walked them one way, it turns out he attacks there, I'm not going to be able to get back in position in time to defend. There's just no need really, because we're not looking to do huge amounts of damage right now. We just want to scout, get information. I can see that he's reinforced grenades on his guardsmen. We're not going to try and engage. He's built an infantry command. Just an unusual build at this point. I'm not quite sure what to expect. I'm expecting some kind of economy boom, I guess, and big push with grenades.
I will lead us to victory.
So at this point, I wasn't, and I'm not expecting any kind of aggression yet. So I was contemplating moving the Fire Warriors up. I've gone for Vespids because having seen grenades, I want Vespids to deal with grenades, to tie up the guardsmen and to disrupt them. I don't think massing Fire Warriors into grenade guardsmen is a particularly good idea. If you see a guard player committing to early aggression with grenades, my recommendation would be to get Vespids. You can stop them from attacking you, you can jump in and disrupt them. But sadly I was not in position, I wasn't being defensive, and he's actually snuck all the way around here, and he starts sieging my base. So it looks like we're going to have a base trade scenario. Immediately at this point, I'm very comfortable in these situations, and the first thing I'm going to do is immediately just pull my builders and pull my scouts if I've got them. So we're going to bring the scouts in, and we're going to essentially swap bases. And the reason I'm comfortable with that is because I'm confident that with Vespids I can do it faster. So we've made a second squad of Fire Warriors, and I've also decided to go for a squad of Kroot rather. And we can actually keep these at home and try and defend. So in the time that he's killed one turret, I've killed two, and I'm working on the third. Vespids have excellent building damage, and that's why I'm so confident in these situations, especially when it's tier 1. The only race in which I wouldn't want to do this against would be Sisters of Battle, because I think they are probably faster, because their builders have the ability to deal 25% of a building's HP. They can just delete your HQ very
6
quickly.
minutes until take and hold victory.
So at this point, all I'm really focusing on is taking his points and keeping a higher economy than he has, because if I'm able to maintain a higher economy, I may actually be able to get to tier 2 and and reinforce my units more than he can, which is essentially what this will boil down to. He was trying to push me back with this command squad, and it's not worked because he's left all his guardsmen in the base to try and do the base trade essentially. He's sort of half committed. He's focusing on killing my barracks when I'm already max. I've already got a full 10 out of 10 population cap. This bolter turret hasn't served much purpose. He just sort of leaves it out in the open to die. We use the highly balanced Vespid double jump to come and take it out, and by the time he pulls the guardsmen to react, it's too late.
Pick your targets.
So we can check the economy at this point. I'm at 56 to 20. He's at 56 to 20, and I'm at 104 to 0. But I'm very, very close to having the power to go to tier 2 if I were to make a single generator. I suppose another reason why Tau are quite good at this, especially as compared against Imperial Guard, is these are his Kappa units as well. He has to decide, is he going to capture my points and try and increase his economy, or is he going to get to work on the next listing point? Guardsmen also don't have particularly high building damage. So we've rebuilt our barracks, we're building another generator.
4 minutes
We've even
until
upgraded to
taking
12B2s.
victory.
I think rather than going for tier 2, my decision to build the listening post was just simply to defend against exactly this sort of thing. What we really don't want is for him to just run us one guardsman in to kill our builders, kill our barracks, and win the game. But back home, we've simply got too much. He's got 2 squads of guardsmen and a command squad versus 2 fully reinforced squad of fire warriors, Vespids and crew. He simply didn't have the economy to sustain a big enough army, and so we were able to jump in, take it out, and even build some builders behind it and start building in our base if for some reason he's able to stay in the game.
3 minutes until taking full victory.
Just micro the fire warriors away from the command squad. Leave the Tau commander shooting, focus on tying up his ranged units with the Crude and the Vespid. He's lost most of his guardsmen, he calls GG. And that's that.
Pick your targets.
So this last game that we're going to watch is between 2 different players on a different map. It's Master Yoba playing Tau against Drizzle, who is also a very, very good Imperial Guard player. Master Yoba, the rank 1 player, seemingly the best player with every race, much to my frustration. Particularly watching him play against races like Necron, which Tau typically have a hard time against, and just watching him dismantle them and thinking, I don't quite understand what's so special.
Stealth suit ready.
But he makes it work. So we see that he's going to go for exactly the same build that I went for in the previous games, which is Fire Warriors and Tau Commander, the Generator and 2 stealth suits, and just focus on capping points. This is a really good defensive opening, particularly against when you know you're going to be attacked by ranged units.
Our hunt begins.
If you were against a race like Chaos, and you thought there was a risk that you might get attacked by lots of cultists and raptors, you would probably go for Kroot and Tau Commander. But because we know Imperial Guard doesn't have any particularly strong melee units outside of the Commander, at least tier 1, tier 2 anyway, we can be safe going for Fire Warriors. So just Master Yoba just capping his points. Goes for left side relic.
We have spread the greater good.
much like in the previous games, you're going to see him move his fire warriors into a defensive position and just leave them there in anticipation.
Will spread the greater good.
In anticipation of the guard player just running down the middle with the command squad.
The target is ours.
So we see guard squad on the left hand side. No need to move the fire warriors. We don't want to get caught out of position by another squad running down the middle.
The fire cast serves with pride.
So he's going to move the fire warriors, sitting in negative cover, but so long as they're out of range, we're okay. Drizzle uses his strip soul on the tower commander. Does take quite a lot of damage, but the command squad has equally taken a lot of damage. I think it's often much better to use strip soul straight away on the stealth suit. If you do that, the tower player loses the ability to control the map, and of course that's just another thing that they have to replace in tier 2, which they will invariably have to replace. So the stealth suit capturing this bottom right hand side relic, Drizzle's guard squad not really doing anything. The mobile tower commander is able to get around and defend it in time, but sadly Master Yoba does lose the stealth suit in the middle, just to range 5 from the command squad. Seemingly frustrated, he just rebuilds it instantly.
We hunt with patience.
He never lost it, it didn't happen. So he flies over to take the crit, but Drizzle sees that, and this is going to be another dead stealth suit. Or not.
I will strike the killing blow. The fire cast serves with pride. The technology of Tau makes us strong.
So you can just see Master Yoba just bouncing between the relics, trying to make sure that his opponent doesn't get both of them. All he wants to do at this stage is go even. He doesn't need to focus on getting both of them or even getting a lead. He just has to make it out of the first 5 minutes, having taken not too much damage, and he'll be okay. You see some good micro here, moving in and out of the range of the guardsman as he tries to decap the relic, all while the guardsmen are ping-ponging back and forth. They're taking shots from the fire warriors, who have very, very long range. So you see Master Yoba, he's made 3 listening points, upgraded listening posts. He's going for his 4th generator.
The technology of Tau makes
So
us
the difference
strong.
between Master Yoba and some other Tau games that I've watched. I see a lot of Tau games where the Tau player goes for 3 generators. It goes up at that point with only 2 listening posts, whereas Master Yoba invariably, and in most of his games, makes more listening posts early game and delays his tier 2 ever so slightly, but not by much.
The technology of Tau
Now we're going to see a dead stealth suit. Unfortunately, you can't. It's never a good idea to fly directly over the command squad. You always need to fly away at an angle. Unfortunately, you couldn't do that in this position. There was only one way out, and that way led to certain death.
The technology of Tau makes us strong. Good.
So Master Yoba just taking the relic, upgrading the listing point. He's actually found a squad of guardsmen over here on the left-hand side, which it looks like he's going to be able to trap. He might take them out, or at the very least he'll do a lot of damage.
Keep firing.
No, it's the whole squad gone. The command squad arrives too late. Tries to take position in the heavy cover. Drizzle reveals that he's tier 2, but Master Yoba's probably feeling quite confident right now. He's made it to tier 2, which now he has the advantage. So what's he going to get, and in what order is important.
For the greater good.
So the first thing he's done is he's got his stealth suit EMP.
Don't let the prey get away.
I think that's definitely a good choice, because as mentioned in the previous games, one way that you can just instantly lose the game is to not have the EMP for the incoming Chimera. Meanwhile, back at the base, he's gone for the vehicle beacon, Pathfinder, and he hasn't gone for the... oh, he has got optics, so he's gone for optics, vehicle beacon, Pathfinder. I mean, those three things, and I suppose with the upgraded stealth suit, those four things are going to be things that you want to get in every game against Imperial Guard. The order is somewhat up to you, and I suppose you can decide what order you're going to get it based on how the game is going.
Just tell us what you want to know. We will be your eyes and ears.
Each of the things,
Stealth suit ready.
the vehicle beacon, upgraded stealth suit, Pathfinders and optics, they're all a necessary ingredient for you to be aggressive and start pushing the issue. It's probably not a good idea for you to try and be aggressive without all of these things. You might be able to make do without the Pathfinders, but you're really going to want... I mean, without the optics you have much less range and you'll do much less damage, so it's foolish to attack. But without the Devilfish and the stealth suits, you really run the risk of being caught out of position and losing your army. So Master Yoba comes up, he can see that Drizzle is tattling. He's going to make basilisks, make heavy weapons teams, and hide behind turrets. Drizzle's also simultaneously doing a very good job. He's attacking this unprotected relic with a priest. Master Yoba's just going to ignore it. He doesn't need to defend that side if he can take the other. At least that way he's going even.
Deploy and secure this position.
Master Yoba's got all 6 generators, which is a very good thing to do as Tau, because you can almost always use that extra power, because you can get both of your global upgrades in tier 2, whereas most other races can't. And you can end up with a very high economy quite quickly. Which I suppose is especially important on a map like Blood River, which only has 4 points. Obviously not including the relic. So Master Yoba with the superior army is able to take out the relic and start pushing the issue. There's a very out of position generator here, which Drizzle's just going to lose. I mean, Drizzle is doing the right thing here. Hiding behind heavy bolter turrets and basilisks. I shouldn't say hiding, has sort of got negative connotations to it. It is the right thing to do.
Devilfish transport ready. Return fire! Return fire!
So Master Yoba's made a sentinel to try and deal with the Devilfish and the Barracuda. It's probably going to have quite a hard time, because it'll most likely get stunned on the way in by the stealth suits. In the end, they're either killed by the stealth suit or taken up by the Barracuda. So Master Yoba's taken a second Devilfish. He's just attacking this left-hand side at the same time. This is just going to put stress on Drizzle's multitasking. It's not a pressing concern, but he does need to deal with this at some point. Back home, Master Yoba's got a very good economy. He's going for Motka. We'll talk about that in a minute. But just for now, we can see he's 119 to 79. And he's now going for his second global on Wreck. He's also got first global on Power, so he's really pushing ahead with the economy. We can see him attack from 3 sides with Devilfish.
Ready for action.
Because he knows that the Imperial Guard player only has 1 form of detection, and that's in the priest on his command squad. He doesn't have a tactical control, so he can't scan either. Very annoying to deal with. multiple pronged attacks, especially from stealth units.
Devilfish swim silently.
Drizzle's economy, unfortunately, is not in a good shape. He's lost control of both relics, nor has he doesn't have these back listening posts upgraded.
Standing by.
He may have done a bit better in this game had he upgraded those listening posts, because without them he's not going to have the economy to fight a fully upgraded Tau army. So Drizzle is able to stun this Devilfish and take it out with the Sentinel. It's a small victory, but right as that happens, over on this right hand side he's got this other Devilfish attacking him as he tries to take his points. Master Yoba has gone for Monka and he's going straight for tier 4. This is, in most circumstances, the right thing to do with Monka, because Crisis Battlesuits, being your tier 3 unit, are not the most effective. They're quite squishy, they die quite easily, they have a very long jump animation, they're generally not the best unit. Hammerhead gunships, in contrast, are really good, and they're going to be what you want to get out. So if you're in an already dominant position as Tau, you can go for Monka, and you're going to want to try and get tier 4 straight away and get those Hammerheads. You might also want to go Monka in another situation, which is if you find yourself having traded out your army or lost parts of your army in tier 2, where you don't have a good, a solid base of fire warriors and stealth suits. In that situation, you might want to get Monka simply because the units that you are going to get are, standalone. They work very well by themselves. You don't need much to back them up. He's upgraded the missile pods on them. He's going to jump in, start attacking these Cassidians who use their fanaticism. And you can see just how quickly the squad of Cassidians melts through these Crisis Battlesuits. Barracuda's putting in work against the command squad. And at this point, Master Yoba's economy is just too much for Drizzle. He's got the Ethereal out, he's tier 4 and making Hammerheads, and in a moment we'll see him put down the Creek Shaping Center.
Stealth fields fully active. Where do you need the elite? Our duty calls, Shazla. Looks like we're here for us by the sea.
So if you're watching this as a Tau player, there's a lot of things to take away, but the one thing, I think the most important thing to take away is just to understand the order of things insofar as where you're strong and where you're not. You're going to want to defend in the early game. Imperial Guard has the advantage right as the game starts, and more often than not they're going to run at you with a command squad and varying amounts of guardsmen, and you need to defend that. If you can defend that and get yourself up to a solid base of fire warriors, you're in a good position. You're going to want to be aggressive tier 2.5 with reinforced stealth suits, fire warriors and barracudas, and you're going to want to try and bust the guard player open. Ideally you'll win the game in that stage, but if not, then move your way up to tier 3. Most of the time I'd recommend Kion, but Master Yoba clearly illustrating here that Monka does work too, and go from there. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching.